Now, what if I told you your healthy meals might still leave your body starved of key nutrients, especially if you're a woman over 40? Now, research out of the US indicates that a significant percentage of women are deficient in essential nutrients like vitamin D, magnesium, and vitamin B12. So you add more green, eat less processed food, and try to do all the right things. But no one tells you that modern farming practices are stripping your food of the essential nutrients your cell needs to thrive. I was shocked when I discovered this over a decade ago, and chances are you will be too. This might very well explain why you're feeling tired, gaining weight, or not feeling like yourself. So in this video, I will share why your healthy diet might not work as expected, and the 4 shifts every woman over 40 should be making. Now we have gotten so used to going to the supermarket, grabbing a bag of spinach or say some tomatoes, glancing at them to ensure they're not spoiled, and then tossing them in our carts. Well, of course, if the price is right. But here's what almost no one stopped to ask. Where was this growing? What pesticides were used? Was the soil even healthy to begin with? How long ago was this harvested and how was it stored? Most of us assume that eating more vegetables alone should make us feel better. Well, unfortunately, eating healthy in today's food system doesn't guarantee getting the nutrients your body needs. So according to a landmark report published in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition, researchers decided to compare 43 different garden crops from 1950 to 1999. They found a significant decline in protein, calcium, iron, vitamin B2, and vitamin C. Why? Because industrial farming prioritized fast growth and long shelf life, not nutrient density. Now, Dr. Donald Davis, a biochemist from the University of Texas, said that due to soil depletion and agriculture practices, you have to now eat 8 oranges today to get the same amount of vitamin C your grandmother got from just one. You imagine that? But it doesn't stop there. In conventional agriculture, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides are heavily used, and many of them are known endocrine disruptors, which means they interfere with your hormones. One of the most common is glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup. It is sprayed heavily on grains, especially wheat and oats, to help them dry faster before harvest. Now, glyphosate has been classified by the World Health Organization, International Agency for Research on Cancer, as a probable human carcinogen, and in multiple studies link it to gut microbiome damage, hormone imbalance, and increased toxin load. So now your body is dealing with 2 issues at once: fewer nutrients and more toxins. No wonder many women over 40 feel exhausted or inflamed, even when they eat better. So I want you to understand this part. From the moment your food is harvested, it starts to lose nutrients. And how it's stored makes a huge difference in how much is left by the time it reaches you. Well, take for example some spinach. So according to data from the USDA, spinach can lose up to 90% of its vitamin C content within just 24 hours of harvest, especially when stored at room temperature. Now let's think about the typical supply chain. So our food is harvested, then sent to, say, a central packaging facility. It is then transported long distances, probably between countries or continents, stored in warehouses, then displayed in the supermarket, often under fluorescent lights. And finally, it sits in your fridge before you eat it. Each of these steps, especially if cold chain storage is interrupted or delayed, can further degrade sensitive nutrients like vitamin C, B-complex vitamins, folate, antioxidants like polyphenols. Research from the University of California found that produce stored at improper temperatures or for extended periods loses nutrients faster, especially if it's exposed to air, light, or changes in moisture. Leafy greens, berries, and herbs are particularly vulnerable to this. So to survive these long journeys, most produce is picked before it's fully ripe, then treated with substances like ethylene gas to force ripening, wax coating to slow visible spoilage. So while your produce may look fresh on the outside, when you pick it up, the nutrient profile could be a fraction of what it was when first harvested. Now, I spent a lot of time talking about vegetables and fruit, But let's now talk about the meat. So around 80 to 90% of the meat found in US market today, beef, pork, poultry, comes from concentrated animal feeding operations. What is this? These are like large-scale industrial systems where animals are kept in confined spaces, fed on natural diets, and routinely given antibiotics, hormones to accelerate growth and reduce disease risk in overcrowded, high-stress environments. Now let's talk about why diet matters for our animals. Cows are designed to eat grass. 80% of US beef cattle are finished in feedlots on soya and corn diet for 90 to say 150 days to increase their weight. This changed the fatty acid composition of their meats. Research published in the British Journal of Nutrition says that grass-fed beef contains up to 5 times more omega-3 fatty acids than grain-fed beef and significantly more conjugated linoleic acid. This compound supports fat metabolism and immune health. So when animals are fed on natural diets, the nutritional profile of the meat suffers. So grain-fed meats are lower in omega-3s, which can worsen inflammation and hormone imbalances. They're higher in omega-6, which promote inflammation if unbalanced. They're lower in antioxidants like vitamin E. But that's not all. Let's talk a little bit about the antibiotics and hormones. Roughly 80% of antibiotics sold in the US are used in animal agriculture, not just to treat sickness, but to prevent it due to overcrowded and unsanitary conditions. Now, these residues can remain in the meat, and long-term exposure has been linked to gut microbiome disruption, meaning that there's a reduction in our diversity by 10 to 20%. Now, we are hearing about the issue of antibiotic resistance. Now, according to the Lancet, this contributes 700,000 global deaths per year. And in addition to that, many animals, especially cows, are given growth hormones to bulk up faster. This includes synthetic version of estrogen, testosterone. Now, at this stage of life where your body is more sensitive to inflammation, toxic overload, hormonal imbalances, blood sugar swings, and then you're eating meats that have been raised in stress-fed inflammatory grains and exposed to hormone and antibiotics, it becomes a problem. So you might be eating well, but instead of feeling better, you're actually increasing estrogen dominance, slowing your metabolism, aggravating joint pain, bloating, and fatigue. And that is the reality we face today. Now I know hearing about all the issues in the system can feel discouraging. But I'm excited to tell you there is a growing movement pushing back, fighting for our health and the environment. And the best part, you can be a part of it in a simple and meaningful way. Start by prioritizing local whenever possible. I think that's probably one of the most powerful things you can do. Start to build a relationship with the people who grow your food. Then you are able to get a better understanding about how your foods are grown when you talk directly to your farmers, whether it's through a co-op or a farmer's market. You can ask them questions like, how do they grow their food? Do they use organic practices? What do they feed their animals? Are their chickens pasture-raised or free-range? Are their animals grass-fed and grass-finished? Now, I can tell you for a fact, most organic farmers are open to having that discussion with you because they are actually very passionate about health and natural healing. So they totally understand why you will want to know that information. Now, buying local is not only about supporting your small farmers. You are able to get your produce picked closer to peak ripeness, which means more flavor, more nutrients, and fewer preservatives. Now, if you are shopping at your local supermarket, check your labels. Check for trusted certification. Check for things like certified organic, regenerative organic certified, certified humane, animal welfare approved, kosher. All these certifications are regulated, so you can be assured your foods are being produced at a high standards. So be careful when you see natural or farm fresh. Those are marketing terms and not certifications, so they mean that they're not legally regulated. Now, I know a lot of you might still want to enjoy some of the imported fruits and vegetables. The best way to do that is by selecting frozen produce as opposed to fresh, because frozen produce are usually picked at their peak ripeness and then frozen within a few hours, which means that their nutrients are preserved. Produce that are frozen will have a higher nutrient content than those that are fresh. I was a big advocate for growing your food. I don't really push that as much, but I still believe it's one of the most powerful things you can do because you gain control. You know exactly what's going into your soil, what's being sprayed on your plants, and how your food is handled from start to finish. It allows you to recycle your organic kitchen waste through composting, which is excellent for the environment and also your soil health. Plus, there's nothing like walking outside in your garden and picking fresh thyme and spinach for your meal. Now, the truth is, I am not growing anything right now. So I totally get it if you tell me your plate is full. But growing a few herbs or greens can be a good option if you enjoy being outdoors or just want a simple relaxation project. Now, I know I shared a lot today, but everything I said came from my experience over the years. I was facing a number of health challenges and I was trying to search for answers that made sense. That's when I started realizing how our foods are grown and the reality in our healthcare system. It completely shifted my perspective. I stopped seeing like farmers as just people who grow crops and start seeing them as healers. Because unlike a doctor who often prescribes pills to manage symptoms, a good farmer grows foods that help your body rebuild from the inside out. I don't think people realize how hard farming is, and they don't really have appreciation for it. It really takes guts, patience, discipline, and a whole lot of faith. And when you find persons that are committed to doing it the right way, no chemicals, no shortcuts, then you really have to appreciate them. And that's when you begin to understand why the agriculture industry is going in the current direction. Doing it the proper way costs money. It takes longer, it requires more care. And that's why I'm all about supporting local organic farmers. We really need to ensure that they're paid fairly because they need a incentive to their human being to do things the right way, even when it's hard. They have a family to feed, bills to pay, and if they can't survive doing it the right way, we are definitely going to feel the impact in our foods, our health, and our future. So let's do our part to support the people who are actually making a difference in our nation. So in the next video, I will show you how to store and cook your food in a way that you can actually preserve as much of the nutrients as possible. So don't miss it.